Hey everybody, I'm B. Javine, aka The Terrible Australian at supermarcy.com, and welcome to my video review of director Todd Haynes' critically acclaimed drama Carol, which stars Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara. So let's get right into it. Now, I should start before I go into the review. My relationship with director Todd Haynes. I haven't seen all of his films, but the ones that I have seen, I really liked a lot. Far From Heaven, I thought was a really good film. Velvet Goldmine was really good as well. And probably my favourite one of his, of what I've seen so far, I'm Not There, which was just absolutely terrific. And like I said, I haven't seen all of his other films as of yet, but from what I've seen of his work so far, he's a really, really good and really interesting filmmaker who has a really interesting sort of way of making his films and he does, each one is completely different from the other. You wouldn't think they were all made by the same filmmaker, but how he approaches each film is sort of works for the type of story it goes for, so it feels, organic and makes sense for what he's going for each film. I mean, I'm Not There is totally different from Far From Heaven, as if Far From Heaven is very different from Velvet Goldmine. But to me, he's a really interesting filmmaker who I've always want to make sure I check out. Anytime he's got a new film out, I'm definitely interested to check it out. So with the film Carol, of the films that I've seen of his so far, this is definitely one of the most low-key films that he's done, even more so than Far From Heaven. In a way, this could make an interesting double feature with that one, but with Far From Heaven, that was kind of more of a film, sort of a homage to Douglas Sirk films, but this one is definitely its very own thing. It's a period drama that's also a love story between these two women, Carol, played by Cate Blanchett, and Therese, played by Rooney Mara. And to me, that's sort of the key factor of the film, is the relationship between these two characters. And it's also a very believable love story, because when these two characters meet, you can instantly tell that there is an instant attraction between the two of them, and the film really delves into that in a way that's so beautifully handled, and without it feeling forced. It actually feels really organic and not contrived at all. And the fact that sort of the film, which is set from what I remember in the early 1950s, it kind of adds that sort of extra dimension to it, since it is a lesbian love story in the 1950s, and having that at that time, like I said, adds that sort of extra dimension to it, since it's sort of like gay people were looked down on even more so at that time, and the film sort of, and also the film does a really good job at sort of exploring both these characters. Exploring Carol's sort of home life and her struggling with her divorce from her husband, and also trying to sort of keep custody of a child. And while Rooney Mara's character Therese is sort of trying to find herself, who's kind of goes day by day to her job, and is sort of in a relationship with a boyfriend, but she's sort of unsure whether she is even in love with him or not. But once these two sort of meet, that's where things sort of change for them. And the film sort of does a really good job at, like I said, exploring their relationship, but also exploring, their separate lives as well. And we understand why both these characters are where they are in their lives at the moment, and what they want from life in the future. And also I got to give credit to Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara, who were just fantastic in the two lead roles. And like, Cate Blanchett's performance is definitely the more showier of the two, but she does a wonderful job there. And also Rooney Mara is definitely, her performance, she's definitely takes a very much more subtle take to her role, and she does a really beautiful job as well. This is definitely up there as one of her best performances for sure. And it's the script is so beautifully well written. Todd Haynes' direction is beautifully done as well, and also it's a beautiful, and also the cinematography is also really good as well. The film was shot by Todd Haynes' regular cinematographer, Edward Luckman, who shot this on Super 16mm film. So it just just looks beautiful, and it really sort of captures the period perfectly. Costumes, production design, just all gorgeous, and and it's just all authentically done. And also the supporting characters are all really good as well. Sarah Paulson is really good, as well as Cate Blanchett's character's best friend, who, like, that hints pretty clearly that they may have had a relationship themselves with each other in the past. And also, what I really found interesting about the film was the subplot with Kyle Chandler's character. In the film, I just assumed, like, from based on what I saw in the trailers, that the film was basically going to have Carol and Teresa's relationship, and then, you know, as the usual cliche, Carol's husband, played by Kyle Chandler, finds out, and then, of course, tries to stop and all that. But from the very beginning, Carol and her husband are already in the midst of a divorce anyway, and he's very much aware of her relationships with other women. But at the same time, he's very determined that even though they're going through a divorce, he doesn't want her to. He wants her to still, because he's still very much in love with her, and he wants her to be with him, but Carol doesn't want that. And it's sort of like that interesting sort of dynamic there. With that subplot was really interesting, and adds sort of a dramatic flavor to the film, but which, to contrast, this love story between Carol and Therese. And it's like I said, it's a beautifully well made film. I don't think it's amazing as other sort of critics and film buffs out there have been saying, but it's still a great film, and definitely one that is it's just so beautifully done, and it's really cool to kind of see this very sort of classically done, elegant love story that doesn't feel contrived or forced or sentimental. Like, I can understand sort of the complaints that some people had, that this film can be a bit too cold and distant at times, but for me personally, I can see those complaints, and I would not be lying to say that they are kind of mostly true. But at the same time, I still found it rather riveting nonetheless, and I still found this love story to be quite compelling nonetheless. And also, it's a great film. Great performances. Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara definitely deserving of their Oscar nominations, and I would definitely say it's one worth checking out. If you're a fan of Todd Haynes' films, it's definitely worth checking out for sure. And also, it's a great showcase for both Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara. So if I had to give Carol a rating, I give it 4 stars. It's really, really good. So yep, that's the end of my video review of Carol. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all later. See you, everyone. Bye.